Hello, welcome to another edition of Mandell Friends. I'm your host, Mandell Frazier, and my special guest today is Petri Hawkins-Byrd, more affectionately known as Bird. A true life bailiff, Petri Hawkins-Byrd is best known from the Emmy award-winning #1 daytime show, Judge Judy. With over 10,000 episodes, filmed over 21 seasons, Petri Hawkins-Byrd has been with the show for its entire run, making him the longest running court show bailiff in television history. Please help me to welcome my good friend and spiritual brother, Petri Hawkins-Byrd. How's it going?
Hey man, what's up, man? How you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I remember when we first met, and it wasn't on the red carpet.
No.
It wasn't on Judge Judy.
No,
Thank
was
God.
not.
It wasn't at a premiere. It was at a simple place called U-Haul.
U-Haul, that's right.
You know, and I remember very distinctly because me and my good friend Reggie, which is a mutual friend of ours, we was talking, waiting for the U-Haul employee behind the counter to come talk to us.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I heard this very baritone, deep James Earl Jones type voice saying, "Don't believe him." We both turned around and it was you. And man, that was so profound because I've been watching you on television all these years, you know, watching you and your little sarcastic remarks and your over the eye look glasses and whatnot. But it was profound because of the fact that I remember after we talked for about an hour or so, you wanted to pray before we left.
Right.
And that left such an impression on me because here's a man of faith
Right.
who I've been watching on TV, who's well known, and then all of a sudden now, you know, you're in front of me praying, and the prayer was so powerful that even the employee behind the counter wanted to participate. But I want to let you know, thank you, because you spoke some very powerful things into my life,
Wow.
and
glad
I'm
about
starting
that.
to see things come to fruition. So thank you for being on the show.
Excellent, man. You know, well, you know, the thing about it was in meeting you in that place, the spirit that was in you spoke to me, you know, in regards to, you know, you told me that you had just gotten to Los Angeles and that, you know, you had a vision about doing some stuff, including what you're doing right now. And, you know, I love the genesis of anything. You know, I was telling my lady the other day, I said, you know, I said my favorite churches to go to, you know, actually are the ones that are just starting. You know, they're struggling to have a place to meet every Sunday. You know, they have to move everything in on a Sunday and then they have to move it out because it's not their place. You know, it might be a school or someplace, a temporary dig until, you know, God blesses them with their own facility.
Correct.
But it's during that time of struggle that you cling to God, you seek His face on everything that you do, and it's at those times that you have the greatest encounters, those divine appointments that help you, that help shape what your ministry is going to be and how God is going to eventually use you. So, you know, I kind of saw it that day, man, and you know, the Spirit prompted me to pray with you and for you, you know, and so to be here at this time, because, well, I don't know, what was that 3 years ago?
At least 3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago.
Possibly,
So,
yes.
you know, so
Actually, it was 2013.
wow,
That's when I
wow,
first moved
okay,
to Los
right.
Angeles,
So
downtown.
it's 4 years ago. So to
Yes.
see, you know, to see the progress, you know, that God has made in your life and continues to do, you know, is a heartening thing for me.
Well, like I said, I'm elated and excited that you're here. By the way, as you guys probably knew from my last episode, Coco Brown was supposed to be here today, but she let me know that she's working on another project in Atlanta, Georgia. So we rescheduled her for next month. So my good friend Bird was able to come in, and I had been wanting to get him on the show anyway. So I'm glad that he was able to fit me in his busy schedule.
Things worked out, right?
Things worked out. But Bird, take us through the journey of how you became the bailiff on Judge Judy.
I was a court officer in New York City.
Okay.
I was working in Manhattan Family Court.
Okay.
I worked with a lot of judges there, but amongst the judges I worked with, one was Judge Judy Shineland, and she kind of remembered me because I was kind of the crazy officer, you know. Even then, I had a lot of ham in me, you know. And so I left New York in 1990, moved out to California to raise my family out here, and I left law enforcement. I started working at a high school as a counselor at a high school.
Okay.
And one day I'm reading the paper and I happened to read about this judge who wrote this book called "Don't Pee on My Leg and Tell Me It's Raining." I'm like, that sounds mighty familiar, you know. And then they you know, it said that they were developing a TV show for her, and I saw the name Judy Shineland, and I was like, wait a minute, I know that judge. I got excited and decided to write her a letter to congratulate her. You know, God bless you. I hope things work out for you. You know, it's well deserved. P.S. If you ever need a bailiff, I still look good in uniform.
Wow.
And that little joke has turned into a 21 years, thus far, a 21-year career. She called me about 3 weeks later and told me that she appreciated the letter and said, "You were kidding, but we do need a bailiff, and you're out in California already. And as I recall, you kind of crazy." I said, "Well, I'm still kind of crazy." She said, "Well, if you're crazy enough to try this with me, I'll recommend you for the job." And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
Oh my gosh, that is profound. Wow. So you planted a seed,
That's
not
it.
knowing that seed was going to actually, you know, just manifest into what it is now.
Man, I tell kids, you know, I go around the country and I speak to thousands of kids every year, and I tell them, you know, you have to plant those seeds. You know, if you have a talent and you're not cultivating it, you're not helping it grow, you're not having anybody speak into your life about it, then it's going to be a wasted talent, and it's not going to yield the fruit that God has for you. So you have to plant it, and you have to water it, and you have to allow sunlight to hit it, and you got to do all those things. And sometimes those things are painful. Sometimes, you know, you really feel, you know, at some point that it's not growing. But, you know, my grandmother used to always say, "A watch pot never boils." So, you know, you can keep staring at it,
Exactly.
you know, and it just seems like it's taking longer to come to fruition.
Right.
Or you can plan it and continue to do the things that you know you have to do, and continue to go in the direction that you have to go in. And at some point, you're going to see these little buds. You're going to see these little leaves. You're going to see indications that this tree is starting to grow, that, you know, and that, you know, through God's promise, it's going to bear fruit. And in that fruit is amazingly much more seed.
Wow.
You know, so so your work isn't over there. You know, you continue to plant, you know, and continue to invest in other people's lives. You know, you stand in U-Haul and you plant a seed, you know, and watch it come to fruition in somebody else's life, man.
Oh my
you know.
gosh. So how does it feel being the longest running court TV show bailiff in television history?
You know, it's funny. I think some kind of way the people from Guinness World Book or something like that came down to talk to Judge Judy about. I forgot which honor it is that she has. You know, I don't know, the highest paid, or, you know, the longest running female judge, or the longest running judge on a single program. I forgot what it was. But somebody comes over to me later on and says, "You know, you are uninterrupted the longest running bailiff on a court TV show," you know. And I was like, okay.
You didn't even know it.
You know,
It wasn't even aware. Wow.
didn't know it. You know, I mean, you know, I come from a pretty poor background, so it's like, to be doing anything for 21 years that's legit and that's making you money is a absolute joy.
Absolutely.
You know?
So, what was your most memorable case on Judge Judy?
Wow. People always ask me that, and I'm always like caught short when it comes to that case. But I guess one of the most memorable ones for me is one of the ones that was also one of the shortest cases we ever had.
Okay.
And it was a case where a young lady was accusing these two guys of having broken into her car and taken her.
I remember that show.
And so she's saying, and they took my gym bag out of there, and they took some books, and they took like $50 cash. The guy goes, there wasn't no cash in there. The judge looks at me like, I love it when I love when these idiots shoot themselves in the foot.
Oh my gosh!
I was just like, wow.
I saw that show. I remember saying, no, you just. Oh my gosh!
But it's just remarkable to see over the years. I'm a little more forgiving than she is.
Okay.
I'm a little more understanding than she is.
Gotcha.
And so sometimes where I see people, people come up to me all the time. They go, oh man, those people on there are really stupid. And I go, nah, not necessarily. They're just not very well versed in court decorum. They got the lights on them. They, sometimes they're confused. Sometimes they thought one thing, or they put that down in their paperwork, and then, something else came to mind afterwards. They're confused by dates and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so, I don't really look at them as stupid. I look at them as like probably the stupidest thing they did was coming in front of Judge Judy. It's like, you might want to think about that first.
Exactly.
But I'm like I said, I'm more the forgiving type.
Okay.
I realize people have their shortcomings, and when you want justice, sometimes you'll flub your story a little.
Yes.
Of course you're gonna try to push it in your favor. That's why she's always telling them, like, don't try to know where I'm going. Don't try to figure out where I'm going, okay? Because you're not that smart.
Exactly. So you being a man of faith,
Yeah.
and that's what I respect about you. How you are not afraid of your faith by the incident I described earlier at the U-Haul.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, how has your faith sustained you in Hollywood?
Wow. So I think pretty much one, I've avoided the type of behavior that warrants super scrutiny. When you're in Hollywood, you have all these folks especially in this day and age, you have all these social media outlets that are constantly scrutinizing. You never know. You're sitting in a restaurant, you're minding your business. Somebody's got their phone trained on you.
Yes.
And you think that they're taking a selfie, but they're actually taking a picture of you.
Exactly.
So I try to walk as upright as I can. Try not to hurt anybody. Try not to do anything that's going to bring embarrassment to my God or my race. Or and I think that's I'm not going to apologize for it. I think that's important.
Yes.
That as a black man, that I'm a credit to my race. And that I try to set an example of Christian manhood and try to walk that out before the public, so that again I don't bring shame to my people or my God.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. Again, you need to be commended because you are an outstanding figure, and like I said, I respect you as my big brother in Hollywood. Now, you had mentioned earlier that you was in law enforcement. What inspired you to get into law enforcement?
The need for a steady paycheck.
Okay.
At the time, the woman who was pregnant with my daughter informed me that, in fact, that she was pregnant. She was having a baby. I had a job.
Okay.
I was working in the admissions office, at a hospital in New York, and I just felt like, I have a need for a little more money,
Yes.
maybe a better job, something more secure, and um, it wasn't so much a desire to go into law enforcement because in New York, as opposed to California and different places around the country, um, the court officers and the correction officers and the police officers are three separate entities.
Okay.
So, when you apply to be a court officer, it's a statewide job as opposed to, let's say, New York City Police, which is a city job.
Right.
But um, I just saw that there was, I looked in this paper called The Chief, which um, it would advertise and let you know what tests were coming up
Okay.
for certain civil service jobs. And that particular time, the court officers test was coming up, and so I jumped on that. I was like, all right, it's free to take, and I took the court officers test, passed it, and was in the top scorers for that testing cycle, and long story short, it took me 2.5 years to get that job.
Wow.
The test part was the easiest part of it. The background investigation and all the
Yes.
testing and all that kind of stuff became the challenge, if you will. And I remember my mother saying to me, because I was getting discouraged. I was like, Mom, every time I turn around, man, they're refusing me for some reason.
Right.
I didn't pass this part of the test. I didn't pass the psychological. I didn't, And my mother just kept saying, listen, if God's got that job for you,
Yes.
you're going to have that job. You
Yes.
just hang in there. She said, and in the meantime, you're still working, right? You still have a job. I go, yeah. She says, well, don't worry about it,
Wow.
And after 2.5 years, I finally got the job, and I was probably the person, if you will, who had either I had the best disposition for law enforcement,
Okay.
or I had the worst.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because-
No middle ground.
but all I know was that I didn't necessarily want to be patrolling the streets.
Okay.
Okay. So I became a court officer, and and worked in the judicial system. But on top of that, I always wanted to be a lawyer. So so while I was a court officer, I got my criminal justice degree.
Awesome.
For a while, I kind of entertained the possibility of going to law school, and
Okay.
and who knows? I'll be 60 this year. It might happen.
Wow.
It might still
You look
happen.
good. You look good. You being in law enforcement, your background being in law enforcement, being an African American, what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Colin Kaepernick situation / controversy?
Okay. All right. Let me. All right. I'm not gonna mince words about it.
Okay.
I give big props to Cap. I met him a couple of years back, and was very impressed with him then.
Okay.
I'm impressed with him now.
Okay.
Okay. Sports is entertainment.
Yes.
That's fundamentally what it is. Okay. I can't see nobody would be mad at Jamie Foxx for not standing during the national anthem. Different poets and
Right.
different actors and singers and everything can say anything they want about the United States and about the social problems and social injustice that occurs in this country.
Okay.
Particularly when it comes to people of color. But for some reason, we take our sports heroes, if you will, and we elevate them to this almost godlike status. And it's like, right now, I think through what Cap is doing, we're seeing them as being human beings, and who have opinions and who find themselves hurt sometimes about the injustices that are happening to other human beings.
Yes.
Especially other human beings that look like them.
Okay.
And so Cap is saying, hey, I have this platform. God has given me this platform. He's a devout Christian. He is You know, I love the fact that he's a man of God,
Okay.
and that he's also a man of principle. You know, and that he's gone to different places in the world
Yes.
and been philanthropic in his efforts. You know, to help mankind and everything. And I just can't understand how one guy can do something totally crazy, beat somebody, be charged with, possession of a firearm, or or wilding out, and this guy, who's, I'm not calling him squeaky clean, but
Right.
this man who is setting forth a fine example of what it means to be in a position of prominence, and to have God say, hey, listen, I need you to make a statement, okay? And it's not going to be a popular statement, but I'm still calling you to make this statement. I'm still calling you to have a conscience about this thing, Martin Luther King would have loved Colin Kaepernick,
Exactly.
Now, how many people have a problem with King? A lot of people have a problem
Yes.
with King. And a lot of people have a problem with what he stood for. Even now they have that problem with him. But we know King to be a great man, to be worthy of honors, you understand, because of the stand he took during the civil rights movement, being that figurehead, being that spokesperson for the civil rights movement.
Right.
Well, I afford Colin Kaepernick the same right, that he has a right to drop to a knee, you understand, if he dropped to two knees and was praying, would we have a problem then? you know, but I think that the conditions in America that would cause a Colin Kaepernick to be demonstrative in his disapproval of the system, and his questioning what's happening in the world today. I think that those conditions warrant more scrutiny by us as a people. And if letting the NFL know that this guy shouldn't be paying for this with his career, him demonstrating his right,
Okay.
to point out
Exactly.
the flaws in the system,
Right.
then I'm like, okay, NFL, you don't get my patronage. I'm not buying your jerseys. I'm not supporting you as a corporate entity.
Right.
Because you should be protecting that man. You should be applauding him, and you should be making sure that no matter what Donald Trump says, he has a right to speak out against the
Yes.
injustices,
Because it's freedom of speech.
Oh yeah,
You know.
oh yeah, and because he's a football player, that doesn't make him. That shouldn't make him any less vocal about it. It
Yes.
should make him more vocal about it.
Petri, I knew I had already warned you before we even started filming that we was not going to have enough time to get everything in. But one thing I do want to get across real quick, you mentioned that I know that you are co-chairing the I think it's an OK program, which is the Our Kids program.
Right.
And it's currently active in 8 different states, so I'll commend you on that.
Thank you.
But what's next for Petri Hawkins? Real briefly, what is next for Petri Hawkins-Byrd?
I am currently writing a book,
Okay.
and that book is about, at least on its face, it's about encounters. The encounter that I had with you left an indelible imprint on your life, and it left an indelible imprint on my life.
Okay.
And so I think that the world needs to know that that when we have these encounters, they are basically God ordained.
Yes.
And we should pay attention to what He wants us to do.
Yes.
With these encounters. So that's one thing. I'm involved in a number of projects. Not the least of which is going around the country speaking and emceeing at different events, and continuing to try to do more in the acting field and the voiceover field. So,
Well, I would love to co-star with you in a feature film.
Yeah, man.
Or a major feature film.
That's right.
You know,
We should play the U-Haul Brothers.
Oh, I like that. Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
U-Haul Brothers.
That's right. You haul it, we haul it, everybody can haul it.
Listen, guys. Thank you for, first of all, I want to thank my good friend Petri Hawkins-Byrd for being my special guest today on Mandell Friends. Join us next time. We'll see you later. God bless.